From flaming tables to wrestling in the rain, from fans flooding the ring with chairs to perfect timing, these are rare one-in-a-billion WWE moments that you'll have to see to believe. Kicking things off with the time the NXT champion almost went through the roof. During an NXT live event, Finn went for his signature coup de grace, but he jumped so high that he actually broke the ceiling. Despite the chaos, the former Bullet Club leader still stuck the landing perfectly, proving why he's one of the best in the business. But Finn breaking the ceiling wasn't the first time a wrestling arena had been damaged. Back in 1995, at an ECW event, the Gangstas were facing Public Enemy in a wild tag match. The match itself was nuts, but what happened after the match was totally insane. Public Enemy invited some fans in the ring to celebrate, but instead of a couple of fans, literally dozens of fans stormed the ring. The sheer number of people literally forced the ring to collapse, turning the entire arena into a battleground in true ECW fashion. And speaking of rings breaking, how about the time when Brock Lesnar and Big Show absolutely demolished the ring at a 2003 episode of SmackDown? When Lesnar superplexed the 500-pound giant from the top rope, the entire ring collapsed in on itself, creating one of the most iconic visuals in WWE history. But moving on from wrestlers breaking the ring, sometimes Mother Nature herself decides to crash the party. Back in 1985, the WWF held a show in Puerto Rico when a massive rainstorm hit mid-event. Despite the downpour, legends like Randy Savage and Tito Santana kept wrestling in the rain, while fans brought out umbrellas to enjoy the waterlogged spectacle. Speaking of rain interrupting WWE events, fast forward to WrestleMania 37 in 2021, when another rainstorm forced the company to postpone the show for 30 minutes. The sight of Michael Cole and Samoa Joe in ponchos while Mandy Rose slipped on her entrance became instant meme material. But sometimes the most memorable moments come from the most unexpected places. At SummerSlam 2002, before their match even started, Brock Lesnar and The Rock danced together in perfect sync. And speaking of perfect timing, nobody does it better than Roman Reigns. During a steel cage match on Raw in 2015 where Dean Ambrose was fighting Sheamus, Roman came out to even the odds. Reigns threw a steel chair into the cage to help his Shield brother, and the weapon unfolded perfectly, showcasing Roman's main character energy. But speaking of cage matches, Seth Rollins nearly became part of a horrifying tragedy on Raw. As the steel cage was being lowered, Rollins struggled to slide into the ring, and a spike at the bottom of the cage came within inches of impaling him. Thankfully, Rollins got out just in time, but it was a terrifying close call that could have ended his career. But not every entrance mishap has a happy ending. Matt Hardy had one of the worst entrance botches ever when he tried posing on the ropes during his entrance and completely lost his balance. The embarrassing stumble happened right in front of thousands of fans, making it impossible to play off. However, Matt's entrance botch pales in comparison to what Titus O'Neil did at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Titus ran down the ramp and slipped and slided under the ring apron in one of the most hilarious botches in WWE history. And Titus isn't the only one who's had a disastrous entrance. Even Brock Lesnar, the Beast incarnate himself, isn't immune to entrance fails. On an episode of Raw before Survivor Series 2025, Lesnar came storming down to the ring but completely slipped on the ramp and fell right on his butt. Brock tried to play it off, but that was a devastating aura loss for the Beast. But when Brock isn't slipping on ramps, he's showing off his superhuman strength in the most unexpected ways. During a segment on Raw in 2015, Lesnar threw a car door with such force that it flew across the area and almost took out a fan. The precision combined with the raw power is something only Brock could pull off. But speaking of precision, Randy Orton has made a career out of hitting RKOs at the perfect moment. While everyone talks about the RKO to Evan Bourne or the one to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, most fans don't show enough appreciation for the first ever RKO out of nowhere. During a match against Carlito at Unforgiven 2006, the Legend Killer caught him midair with an RKO as Carlito was attempting a springboard move. The timing was so perfect that it looked like it was straight out of a video game. And speaking of perfect timing, nobody has better timing than LA Knight. During an AJ Styles promo on SmackDown where AJ was listing his opponents, Knight's music hit at the exact moment AJ said his name. And Triple H's entrance remains one of the most iconic in WWE history, despite his horrible booking choices. In fact, you'd be lying if you said you hadn't tried to mimic the iconic water spit the Game does during his entrance at least once when you were a kid. But at the Insurrection pay-per-view in the UK, the Game decided to stay extra hydrated and made his entrance with a water bottle that was literally 4 times the size of his regular one. It looked absolutely comical and goofy, like something straight out of the No Mercy video game, and remains one of the strangest sightings in WWE history. And speaking of strange moments involving liquids, how about the time when Jinder Mahal threw Rob Gronkowski's drink at him during WrestleMania 33? The cup somehow landed perfectly after being hurled at the NFL star. The Undertaker made a career out of never breaking kayfabe and always staying in character. That's what made his wild antics during a house show in Vienna so much more amusing. The dead man completely went off script, pouring water all over his head and started running erratically in a way fans had never seen before during a tag match. The bizarre moment left the European crowd completely stunned and remains one of the strangest Undertaker appearances ever captured on camera. Speaking of Undertaker and things going wrong, the Phenom has had his share of pyro accidents over the years. In 1997, during Taker's iconic entrance, pyro malfunctioned and nearly set him on fire as flames shot out at the wrong angle. Apparently, the pyro conductor had pressed the wrong button and shot off the pyro from the ring post, which was meant for Kane. But the dead man stayed in character and continued his entrance like nothing happened, proving his legendary professionalism. However, Taker's pyro problems didn't stop there. At Elimination Chamber 2010, Undertaker's entrance pyro exploded right next to him with such force that it visibly startled the usually stoic deadman as he sprinted down the ramp and took off his coat. The close call resulted in serious burns, but once again, Taker delivered an incredible performance inside the chamber, even after the fiasco. And speaking of Elimination Chamber moments, Triple H gave us one of the most unsettling visuals in WWE history during the same show. The Game and Sheamus had been feuding for weeks leading up to the show. Sheamus was already in the ring, and as Triple H's pod opened, the Game looked directly at the Celtic Warrior with a deranged smile that was straight out of a horror movie. But sometimes the most impressive moments come from displays of pure strength. At WrestleMania 25, John Cena simultaneously lifted both Big Show and Edge at the same time for a double attitude adjustment in a moment that showcased Cena's superhuman strength. And speaking of superhuman strength, Chad Gable delivered a flawless German suplex to the massive Braun Strowman that left everyone in disbelief. Watching someone Gable's size toss a giant like Braun is a sight you don't see every day, and it proved that technique can overcome even the biggest size disadvantage. And speaking of things that defy expectations, Bianca Belair's kendo stick at Crown Jewel created one of the oddest moments in recent memory. During her last woman standing match against Bayley, the EST sent a kendo stick flying out of Bayley's hands and it landed perfectly on the barricade. Even more amazing is that the stick stayed balanced there for minutes until the referee finally pulled it down. But sometimes lightning strikes twice in the most unexpected ways. At the 1999 Royal Rumble, The Rock was in a WWE Championship match when the announce table prematurely exploded beneath him. Fast forward 14 years to the 2013 Royal Rumble, and the exact same thing happened to Rock during his championship match with CM Punk when he tried to hit a rock bottom. The odds of the same freak accident happening at the same pay-per-view 14 years apart are absolutely astronomical. But sometimes it's not wrestlers, it's the fans that lead to the most hilarious moments. Kevin Nash proved he's got some serious reflexes during a WCW show when a fan threw a drink into the ring during an NWO beatdown, and Big Sexy caught it midair like Spider-Man, then poured it all over one of the wrestlers he had just laid out. The smooth catch combined with the disrespectful gesture was peak NWO coolness. But not all fan interactions end so smoothly. At Bash at the Beach, after Hogan's shocking heel turn, a fan actually tried to attack Kevin Nash by jumping the barricade and rushing the ring. Without hesitation, Nash saw him coming and decked the fan before security dragged the attacker away. And while Nash remained cool under chaos, that was nothing compared to what this WCW ref did. During an episode of Nitro in 1997, a fan tried to interrupt the match, only for referee Mark Curtis to choke him out. The insane visual distracted fans from the actual match and diverted their attention to the impromptu fight between the referee and the fan. But not all fans are jerks. Some are actually quite smooth. During a match between Triple H and Bret Hart on Raw, a fan crafted a paper airplane and sent it soaring toward the ring. Against all odds, the plane gracefully glided between the ropes and landed perfectly in the ring without hitting anyone. The precision and timing of that throw is something we'll probably never see replicated. And speaking of things that might never be replicated, CM Punk pulled off something absolutely unprecedented in WWE history. Punk won the Money in the Bank ladder match 2 years in a row, and then successfully cashed in both briefcases to become champion. But Punk wasn't always on the winning side of memorable moments. In 2008, Layla absolutely decked CM Punk with her high heel shoe right to the face after her client William Regal got eliminated by Punk. And speaking of unexpected offense from non-wrestlers, referee Jessica Carr made history when she delivered a stone-cold stunner to Sami Zayn during a house show. But even that moment was less chaotic compared to the time a brawl broke out between WWE and WCW referees during the Invasion pay-per-view. The late 90s and early 2000s were truly wild times for pro wrestling. And if you want to relive the peak of WWE during this era, check out this video next.